rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. This is the day of peace. In Him I have no cares. My tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing again. A stream long dry begins to flow again. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today in studying A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles this year. And we are ready for Lesson 109 for Saturday, April the 19th of 2025. I rest in God. And I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness from the Ozarks. I rest in God. We ask for rest today and quietness unshaken by the world's appearances. We ask for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil born of clashing dreams. Clashing dreams. I'm dreaming one thing and somebody else is dreaming they want another thing, or even I'm dreaming that I want something other than one thing. I don't have clear direction in my own thinking. What I think will make me happy on one hand might make me unhappy when looked at it from another perspective. So these clashing dreams, we can't have that anymore if we're going to be at peace. We ask for safety and for happiness, although we seem to look on danger and on sorrow. And we have the thought that we'll answer our asking with what we request. I rest in God. I rest in God. This thought will bring to you the rest and quiet, peace and stillness, and the safety and the happiness you seek. I rest in God. This thought has power to wake the sleeping truth in you, whose vision sees beyond appearances to that same truth in everyone and everything there is. Here is the end of suffering for all the world and everyone who ever came and yet will come to linger for a while. Here is the thought in which the Son of God is born again, to recognize Himself. Wow, we can be born again with this thought. I rest in God. I rest in God, completely undismayed. This thought will carry you through storms and strife, past misery and pain, past loss and death, and onward to the certainty of God. There is no suffering it cannot heal. There is no problem it cannot solve, and no appearance but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. You know, that this whole idea of resting in God reminds me of a couple Bible verses. 1 Peter 5:7, cast your cares upon Him, for He careth for you. That's resting in God. That was one of my mom's favorite passages in the Bible. She'd work herself up into a little bit of a panic, and I could go in there and just remind her of that verse, and she'd just start calming down. Sometimes I'd read to her maybe Matthew chapter 6 and verse 25 through 34, which is, it ends that whole section of Jesus is talking about how the lilies don't even try and they look beautiful because God clothes them. And you don't have to clothe yourself. God will clothe you. You don't have to worry about what you're going to buy and what you're going to eat. He says the sparrows get fed and they're not worth as much as you are when you consider that He makes sure that they get fed even though they don't put any of their feed back for the next year. So anyway, he uses those as examples. And then he ends that whole section by saying, take no thought for tomorrow, for sufficient for the days the trouble thereof. Okay, well anyway, that was Jesus's recording verses or things that he had been recorded that he'd said in Matthew 6 and verse 25 through 39 or 34, excuse me. There is no problem that it cannot solve. I rest in God. And no appearance but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. This is the day of peace. You rest in God, and while the world is torn by winds of hate, your rest remains completely undisturbed. Yours is the rest of truth. Appearances cannot intrude on you. You call to all to join you in your rest, and they will hear and come to you because you rest in God. They will not hear another voice than yours. They will not hear another voice than yours because you gave your voice to God. And now you rest in Him and let Him speak through you. In Him you have no cares and no concerns, no burdens, no anxiety, no pain, no fear of future, and no past regrets. No fear of future and no past regrets. In timelessness you rest, while time goes by without its touch upon you, for your rest can never change in any way at all. You rest today, and as you close your eyes, sink into stillness. Let these periods of rest and respite reassure your mind that all its frantic fantasies were but the dreams of fever that has passed away. Let it be still and thankfully accept its healing. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. Take time today to slip away from dreams and into peace. Take time today. Take those 5 minutes every hour, if you can. If you can't, at least take a moment to say, I rest in God. Each hour that you take your rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. Yours. And the way we're all connected, you let your mind take a rest, and the whole world takes a rest with you. Each hour that you take your rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. A stream long dry begins to flow again. The world is born again each time you rest. And hourly remember that you came to bring the peace of God into the world, that it might take its rest along with you. With each 5 minutes that you rest today, the world is nearer waking, and the time when rest will be the only thing there is comes closer to all worn and tired minds, too weary now to go their way alone, and they will hear the bird begin to sing and see the stream begin to flow again, with hope reborn and energy restored to walk with lightened steps along the road that suddenly seems easy as they go. You rest within the peace of God today and call upon your brothers from your rest to draw them to their rest along with you. You will be faithful to your trust today, forgetting no one, bringing everyone into the boundless circle of your peace, the holy sanctuary where you rest. Open the temple doors and let them come from far across the world and near as well, your distant brothers and your closest friends. Bid them all enter here and rest with you. Don't let there be anyone that you don't see in the kingdom of heaven as you rest in God's care. You rest within the peace of God today, quiet and unafraid. Each brother comes to take his rest and offers it to you. We rest together here, for thus our rest is made complete, and what we give today we have received already. Time is not the guardian of what we give today. We give to those unborn and those passed by, to every thought of God and to the mind in which these thoughts were born and where they rest. And we remind them of their resting place each time we tell ourselves, I rest in God. Okay, well, I rest in God. That should be something that you just use. That should be just a daily thing that you just live in the knowing that God cares for you. Like it said there in 2 Peter or 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, cast your cares upon him, for he careth for you. Actually get to the place where you don't even have any cares, because you just know that you can rest in God knowing he cares for you. He's taking care of everything you need. He's got you covered. Okay, well, let's go take a look in our text reading for today. And we're in chapter 13, the Guiltless World. And we're ready for section 2. Is that where we're ready? Yes, section 2. Roman numeral 2, the Guiltless Son of God. The Guiltless Son of God. You're blameless. The ultimate purpose of projection is always to get rid of guilt. Yet characteristically, the ego attempts to get rid of guilt from its own viewpoint only. For much as the ego wants to retain guilt, you find it intolerable, since guilt stands in the way of your remembering God, whose pull is so strong that you cannot resist it. The pull of God is so strong that we can't resist it. But guilt gets in the way. On this issue, then, the deepest split of all occurs. For if you are to retain guilt, as the ego insists, you cannot be you. Only by persuading you that it is you could the ego possibly induce you to project guilt and thereby keep it in your mind. Remember, what you give is what you're receiving. So if you blame someone, project guilt onto them, you're keeping it. Paragraph 2. In the economy of God, what you give is what you're receiving. Yet consider how strange a solution the ego's arrangement is. You project guilt to get rid of it, but you're actually merely concealing it. You do experience the guilt, but you have no idea why. On the contrary, you associate it with a weird assortment of ego ideals which the ego claims you have failed. Yet you have no idea that you are failing the Son of God by seeing him as guilty. Believing you are no longer you, you do not realize that you are failing yourself. You've accepted an idol of yourself, that you're a sinner, that you're different than God created you, that you're guilty, that you truly are worthy of blame. But that's not you. Oh, little chickadee landed right here in front of me and then flew off. Paragraph 3. The darkest of your hidden cornerstones holds your belief in guilt from your awareness. For in that dark and secret place is the realization that you have betrayed God's Son by condemning him to death. You do not even suspect this murderous but insane idea lies hidden there, for the ego's destructive urge is so intense that nothing short of the crucifixion of God's Son can ultimately satisfy it. It does not know who the Son of God is because it is blind. Yet let it perceive guiltlessness anywhere, and it will try to destroy it because it is afraid. See guiltlessness anywhere. And the ego, who most of us, at least coming into this teaching, have identified ourselves with a sense of being that's vulnerable. That's the ego. Paragraph 4. Much of the ego's strange behavior is directly attributable to its definition of guilt. To the ego, the guiltless are guilty. Those who do not attack are its enemies, because by not valuing its interpretation of salvation, they are in an excellent position to let it go. They have approached the darkest and deepest cornerstone in the ego's foundation, and while the ego can withstand your raising all else to question, it guards this one secret with its life, for its existence depends on keeping this secret. So it is this secret that we must look upon, for the ego cannot protect you against truth, and in its presence, the ego is dispelled. Wow, we might ought to read that paragraph again. Much of the ego's strange behavior is directly attributable to its definition of guilt. To the ego, the guiltless are guilty. Those who do not attack are its enemies because by not valuing its interpretation of salvation, they're in an excellent position to let it go. In other words, the ego thinks it'll be saved by attacking that which it thinks will hurt it. But as we learn that we don't need to attack, we just need to rest in God. No attack needed to protect ourselves. We're invulnerable. That's our reality. We have eternal life. We can't die. Only the body. But that ain't us. That's the ego's domain, if anything. But it can be the domain of the Holy Spirit if you make that choice. They have approached the darkest and deepest cornerstone in the ego's foundation if you don't attack. And while the ego can withstand your raising all else to question, it guards this one secret with its life, for its existence depends on keeping this secret. So it is this secret that we must look upon, for the ego cannot protect you against truth, and in its presence the ego is dispelled. Paragraph 5. In the calm light of truth, let us recognize that you believe you have crucified God's Son. You have not admitted to this terrible secret because you would still wish to crucify him if you could find him. Yet the wish has hidden him from you because it is very fearful, and so you are afraid to find him. You have handled this wish to kill yourself by not knowing who you are and identifying with something else. You have projected guilt blindly and indiscriminately, but you have not uncovered its source. For the ego does want to kill you, and if you identify with it, you must believe its goal is yours. Wow, that's some wild, heavy stuff there. Paragraph 6. I have said that the crucifixion is the symbol of the ego. When it was confronted with the real guiltlessness of God's Son, it did attempt to kill him. And the reason it gave was that guiltlessness is blasphemous to God. And that reminds me of something that was recorded about Jesus in John chapter 10, verse 30 through 39, where the Jewish leaders wanted to kill Jesus because he said, I'm one with God. And he was basically saying that that's our identity as one with God. Even with you Jews, everyone, you're one with God. Can't change that, even if you think you can. You're just worshiping an idol, but it's not really you. You can believe it because you have free will, but they wanted to kill him because he was making himself as great as God. To the ego is God. And guiltlessness must be interpreted as the final guilt that fully justifies murder. You do not yet understand that any fear you may experience in connection with this course stems ultimately from this interpretation. But if you will consider your reactions to it, you will become increasingly convinced that this is so. Paragraph 7. This course has explicitly stated that its goal for you is happiness and peace. It's a nice goal, isn't it? Yet you are afraid of it. You have been told again and again that it will set you free, yet you sometimes react as if it is trying to imprison you. You often dismiss it more readily than you dismiss the ego's thought system. To some extent, then, you must believe that by not learning the course, you are protecting yourself. And you do not realize that it is only your guiltlessness that can protect you. Wow, what an opposite way of thinking than most of us have come from. To realize that all of our problems are the idea of guilt, either in ourselves or others, and the sense that we're separate from God and that we're vulnerable and weak, that this is the starting place that we've got to come back and repair the altar, our devotion to God, realizing that we're one with God. We're as holy as God, and we need to accept that. And that's not arrogance if that's the truth. It's arrogant to say that what's true is not true. Okay, paragraph 8. The atonement has always been interpreted as the release from guilt, and this is correct if it is understood. Yet even when I interpret it for you, says Jesus, you may reject it and do not accept it for yourself. You have perhaps recognized the futility of the ego and its offerings, but though you do not want them, you may not yet look upon the alternative with gladness. In the extreme, you are afraid of redemption, and you believe it will kill you. Make no mistake about the depth of this fear, for you believe that in the presence of truth, you might turn on yourself and destroy yourself. Little children, this is not so. It is so sweet the way he sees us. Little children. Reminds me of the Kogi brothers in Colombia who are realizing that they needed to come out of isolation so that they could help their younger brothers that are destroying the planet. Teaching us, they're trying to teach us to not live in the artificial world, but live in the natural world. You know, they see the whole world as the natural world is the world that's connected to, I think they call it Luna, but it's God, basically. And the artificial world is the world of your, the world you've created based on the idea that you feel like you're vulnerable and in need, and then go ingeniously, even though it may not be according to the best for yourself and for the environment, it seems to meet a need, even though it might take from others. The whole system that we've created is just a stack of cards that's going to fall over. Anyway, they call us their younger brothers. Here Jesus is saying, little children, this is not so. Your guilty secret is nothing, and if you will but bring it to the light will dispel it. Boy, let's be open and honest, walking in the light. And then no dark cloud will remain between you and the remembrance of your Father, for you will remember his guiltless Son, who did not die because he is immortal. God saying Jesus didn't die. None of us die. We're immortal. We're also guiltless. And if we can remember that, we'll remember God. We'll remember the Father. And you will see that you were redeemed with him and have never been separated from him. In this understanding lies your remembering, for it is the recognition of love without fear. There will be great joy in heaven on your homecoming, and the joy will be yours. For the redeemed Son of Man is the guiltless Son of God, and to recognize him is your redemption. Reminds me of how often Jesus called himself the Son of Man, trying to identify with us. Let's read that last paragraph one more time, and this is the end of the section. Little child, this is not so. The last sentence before that. For you believe that in the presence of truth you might turn on yourself and destroy yourself. Little child, this is not so. Your guilty secret is nothing, and if you will but bring it to the light will dispel it. And then no dark cloud will remain between you and the remembrance of your Father, for you will remember his guiltless Son, who did not die because he is immortal. And you will see that you were redeemed with him and have never been separated from him. In this understanding lies your remembering, for it is the recognition of love without fear. There will be great joy in heaven on your homecoming, and the joy will be yours, for the redeemed Son of Man is the guiltless Son of God, and to recognize him is your redemption. So let's see the blameless, the guiltless Son of God in each of our brothers and sisters and in ourselves. As we do what today? Rest in God. Okay, let's see what's going on around the world today. It's Holy Saturday, day before Easter, for you Christian folks that, most all Christian, even the Eastern Orthodox, have this to be Holy Saturday. Feast of Unleavened Bread. I think it's going to probably be ending here soon. I should have looked it. I looked it up, and it says it's still going on. So I'm thinking I should have called one of my Jewish brothers and made sure that this is still the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Bicycle Day. I found all these on holidays and observances. Auctioneer Day, Dutch American Friendship Day, Humorous Day. Be sure to laugh, okay? I'm sitting out here in front of my lilac bush again. It's coming into more bloom, and it's really fragrant. It just smells so wonderful. Husband Appreciation Day, Hanging Out Day, Rice Ball Day, Take Your Parents to the Playground Day. Hopefully they're going to the playground to watch their grandkids play. World Circus Day. And then Garlic Day, the Allium sativum. Hey, and I found this on Healthline. It's a low-calorie, nutrient-rich food that can boost the immune system, can help reduce blood pressure, could help in heart disease, particularly by lowering cholesterol. Let's see, my wind's kind of blowing today. It's high in antioxidants and could help alleviate Alzheimer and dementia, may help in longevity, and of course that's body because we already know we're eternal, may improve athletic performance, may help detoxify heavy metals in the body, and I think a lot of greens will do that too, by the way. Eat a lot of greens and garlic. I like garlic and greens with a little vinegar on it. Steamed. May improve bone health. Okay, well, I found all that on Healthline. And then out of edible landscaping, we've got another tree. We've been talking about what trees to plant on your homestead. And this is a Chinquapin, the native Chinquapin, a native bush with small sweet Chinquapin nuts. Nuts similar to chestnut, but smaller. Adapted from Maine to Georgia. Pretty ornamental in sun or shade. Leaves turn bright yellow in fall. Mature height 6 to 12 feet. Best to have 2 to set fruit. Space 10-foot circles. Zones 5 through 9. So anywhere here in the Ozarks, it's just great. And be sure to get 2 of them, though. And you know what? We're taking a little longer than usual, didn't we? But let's go ahead and close with our song. Thank you all again for joining me today. And our word for peace, let's take it from the Spanish people. And it's paz, spelled P-A-Z. So paz be with you. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. This is the day of peace. In Him I have no cares. My tired mind suddenly made glad. My tired mind is suddenly made glad. I rest in God. I rest in God. A bird with broken wings begins to sing again. A bird with broken wings begins to sing again. A stream long dry begins to flow again as I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. Okay, well, if you rest in God, you'll find yourself becoming much more alert, alive, and at peace. Anyway, let me just try to encourage you to rest in God today. And our word for peace again is paz, from our Spanish brothers around the world, all over the place. I'm not going to name any specific rivers, the Iberian Peninsula, and then Mexico, Central America. Anyway, I rest in God. Paz.